Hello, welcome everybody for another talk here we have at Relationary. It's about relationship matters. Today we have a kind of a special setup because we have audience who wants to be more engaging. It's a very engaging topic. It's about pickup lines. Do you like it? Do you use it? Do you hate it? Do you know what to do with it? Stick around. All right, so today we have a full house as usual. But today the full house wants to be fully engaged. So we wanted to make sure that everybody is seen, and also it's kind of a discussion between the genders, I would say. It's about pickup lines. Some people use it, some people like it, some people think it's funny, some people think it's offensive, and it can be making people feel uncomfortable. So we're just going to have a discussion about this. I just wanted to share with you folks some pickup lines that I found, and just to kind of get your thoughts on that. Are you a magician? Because whenever I look at you, everybody else disappears. It's cringy, right?
Yeah, I gotta go for a no on that.
You wouldn't use that.
I wouldn't use that.
Yeah. If your hands look heavy.
Let me hold it for you.
Yeah, yeah. So, is your name Wi-Fi?
Because I feel connected. I feel the connection.
I feel the connection. Yeah. Good. Somebody's been searching also.
Hearing.
What?
What?
Huh? Okay, so some of the pickup lines, especially the ones I've said, actually couples who are already in a relationship, it can be fun to use these kind of pickup lines. It can be a way to bring intimacy to the relationship, to bring fun, even though it's cringy sometimes, but it can make them laugh. But what about when you guys hear it with someone you don't even know and never really thought that this person ever existed on the face of the earth, and let alone they just pass you and they just throw this pickup line like, "Are your feet hurt because you've been running in my mind?" I was like, I mean,
I would just be confused.
I'm sorry.
I would just be confused.
It definitely, it would be kind of confusing, and I would like to hear from the boys and the girls. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think from my observation in at least the culture here in Malaysia, I think that pickup lines are almost never used. I've never really observed or heard from a friend that a stranger going up to another stranger to use pickup lines to try to pick them up.
Yeah, I heard otherwise. Okay, what anybody else think? I've heard a lot of stories.
Really?
Yeah. Especially from ladies or girls. They share with me these kind of uncomfortable situations. And we do discuss that. But it's a good thing, I guess. This gentleman doesn't use it and doesn't know anyone who uses it. Guys, maybe, good to acknowledge that. Adrian, or anybody would like to say anything?
I think mostly people who use it, either guys or girls. Again, it may not be everyone's opinion, but it's mostly, they use it mostly when they're looking for something temporary. I don't know. I think that's just how I see it. Because if you actually genuinely feel like a connection, not just infatuation, a connection, you wouldn't be using a pickup line. You'd actually be talking about yourself and stuff.
You would do what instead?
Talk about stuff you like and stuff they like, and yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Cool. Anybody would feel comfortable to share? No?
Again, just confusion.
Which part?
Which, I mean, if anyone walks up to me and uses a pickup line on me, I would just be confused. And then I'd question their taste in men.
Okay. All right. That's fair. That's fair. And actually, I mean, just to also be clear, the pickup lines are used across. Female use it for men, and males use it for women, or males for female, female for female, or female for male. So it's not really, but it's not really limited to men using it for women. But the majority, I would say, the vast majority is used. That I feel like men are use it more, and I think there is a reason behind that. I would like to argue that men think it's a cool thing. It's funny. They like to make a girl laugh. They like to get that attention from a girl. If I were to generalize, but again, different men use it for different reasons. But I want to hear it from the ladies. How does it really come across to you? Do you guys like it if somebody came and told you like, "Sup, are you a Wi-Fi? I feel the connection." It's like, how would that feel to you?
I guess it would also depend on how smart the line is. If it's something stupid like, "Oh, I feel a connection, Wi-Fi," no. Okay. But if it's something that, I don't know, like something's sort of an inside joke or like a little intellectual, I guess then I don't know. It's okay. Not even like, oh, I can't feel it right now.
So it doesn't rub you the wrong way.
It can.
Okay, so tell me about that. Do you feel comfortable sharing more? What was it about it, or what is it about it that is rubbing you the wrong way?
Okay, like okay, she just asked me before this, what is the most recent pickup line that I've heard, and I think we just had a conversation. You said something about people using religion in the wrong way, some word, I forgot that, but something like that. So this guy came and told me, it was Hari Raya, and Eid, right? Eid, you get like money,
Yeah.
right? So he was like, oh, I won't tell people to send me Eid. I'll tell them to send it to you as meher. And
Or like a dowry.
yeah,
Like a dowry.
and I was,
Mom.
I don't even know.
I'm confused.
Me too.
Yeah, that's like a proposal for marriage. When you say for dowry.
That's a few steps too far.
Yeah, I would say so. That's really aggressive, and I feel like that's a bit of an obnoxious comment, especially if someone you didn't know. I mean, I think that's really crossing multiple boundaries. So at one point, I would also like to discuss how do we respond to these uncomfortable moments? How do we go about telling this person STOP, and I'm sorry?
Your expression.
Well, we will discuss that, but I just wanted to see, is it really true for all the girls here or the ladies here and the ladies that you know? Do they feel also uncomfortable about pickup lines?
Uncomfortable would be a very cute way to put it.
Oh, wow. Okay. Tell us more.
Saying uncomfortable don't really present greatly on how we feel. It's more like a conflicted, confused, to some extent disgust.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that, that feedback. Just if I were to put myself in the feelings that you just shared, I would also feel violated. Because somehow it's interrupting my privacy, it's interrupting my me time. And it's really, I appreciate you sharing that. I'm really happy to hear that. Folks, you need to listen to this, especially the men. You really need to stick around. There's a lot more to share. Who else would like to share? We just said that there's a lot more to share. Christine, the microphone is right next to you. No?
Yeah.
for people to use. So if you're charming, usually the pickup lines would work.
If you're charming,
Usually the pickup lines would work.
oh, if you're charming, then the pickup line would work. If you are ugly, not even the best of pickup lines would work. Interesting. Very what? Very realistically speaking. Okay. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. So if you're not charming, K-pop, don't try pickup lines. It's not gonna work.
Know your limits.
That's the message I'm hearing.
Know your limits.
So we're out of it, guys. You don't have a chance.
Approach.
No,
You,
no,
have to need, you need to know your approach.
You need to know your approach.
Yeah.
Maybe you have a chance, but which one?
The difference in response from Irfan and the both of you. He said no chance, and he said you need to know how to approach.
Yeah.
Yeah, I told him he has a chance.
I mean, something that Angela said just now about pickup lines, right? If the pickup lines are really like inside jokes, nuanced, and smart, like I think when it comes to pickup lines, you need to really hit an impact. You need to be like, oh wow, that's a new one,
Yeah.
or like, oh wow, that took me by
It's like
surprise.
if you were a transformer, you would be
It's not working.
Optimus Fine.
I heard Transformer is not just working.
Did you hear that one? No. If you were a transformer, you would be Optimus Fine. Yeah,
internally dying.
I know, right? Yeah, these are supposed to be like one of the good ones I found online. I really don't know. There are a lot of new ones. I guess I'm not sure if there's anything newer than that. But this is what I could find really quickly. But that's a really good point. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
They're really offensive ones too.
Yeah.
They really, like, they're so bad you can.
Yeah. 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 We don't want to say it.
What?
We don't want to say it.
Yeah.
Because we're good people. You see, that's so what I'm hearing also. So it's disgusting. Uncomfortable is an understatement. And I'm also hearing there's a condition. If it's offensive, if it's extremely offensive, it can be acceptable, what I'm hearing. If you're charming, maybe you have a chance. So I guess what I'm hearing from this crowd, it really depends. It really depends. Is that a good summary? Depends on the person.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what else does it depend on?
I think it definitely depends on the situation as well, like the environment. Like, if I'm just in a train, minding my own business, playing on my phone, and someone walks up to me in the train, like I don't even need them to say anything. Like, just go away, right?
True. So we do need to have that me time, right? So that privacy needs to be respected. Now the question is, how do we respond? How do we defend that time, that me time that I need for myself, and that I need to make sure that I say it in a way that is not only polite, but it's also understood by the other person, that they would stop, right? It's not just give me my own space kind of thing, but it also needs to be assertive in a sense that is clear and is going to give me what I'm asking for. I can also, like, something just popped in my head. I have seen people who, men, for example, or guys or young men, that use the pickup line and the girls were giggling and laughing. But when I asked them afterwards, they felt the same thing you just said. But the fact that they were surprised, and that surprise made them giggle. It was not that they were giggling or laughing because they liked it. It was just a feeling that they just didn't know how to process. And they were laughing at it and they were smiling or giggling. But actually, deep inside them, they were just absolutely disgusted and they felt violated. And that's the message that men or boys or young men needs to understand. When the girl laughs, it doesn't mean she likes it, really. She just doesn't know how to manage that emotion that you just caused her to feel. So that's something that we really need to be mindful and sensitive to. And not because you like the girl, it gives you the right to violate her privacy, right? And also, if the girl smiled at you, it doesn't mean that she loves you, right? We talked about this befriending the opposite sex because we talked a lot. We had like three talks on that, because it was a very new information to, especially for the females that were attending in those talks. So the guys need to understand girls don't think like you, and we need to give them that respect. We need to give them that private time for themselves. And like what somebody was mentioning, if you're really sincere and you really want to talk to the girl, be a gentleman. Just approach nicely. You come across in a very professional, in a human way, not for professional, but in a very socially accepted way. And this is the problem that we have sometimes, especially here in Asia. We adapt these kind of things like the pickup lines. It's really Western. It's a Western thing that back in the US, people think it's a funny thing, it's a joke, they high five and they just walk away. The social norm accepts that kind of behavior. But when you're bringing something from a culture that normalizes these kind of behaviors and this kind of approach, to bring it to a culture that this is not acceptable. And I'm hearing this, not just from you ladies here, I'm hearing it from a lot of ladies as well outside. Even the youth, the young ladies, and they're really not comfortable with these things. So it's not a gender thing. It's a definitely, to me, I feel like it's a cultural thing. And in addition to that, you can think of it as there's a culture within the culture, because it depends on the person's personality, the person's norm, how they brought up. So that's a culture within the culture. So we really need to be sensitive, and it's not just about you having a laugh. If you're really sincere about really connecting with the other girl or with the other person, you need to do it in a manner that is acceptable socially. So what do you guys think of that? Anything you would like to add to that?
No, I completely agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that. I feel validated.
Like it's definitely a entirely cultural thing, and but you did say it might not be a gender thing, but it is definitely a gender thing. But I just get in Eastern cultures, it's just we're more conservative. Yeah, exactly. We're more conservative. We don't try to approach people we don't know and make a fool out of ourselves. Because
It's not just also out of respect.
yeah, as out of respect as well. I agree.
So when you say it is a gender thing, what are you referring to? I'm not sure.
Oh no, as in I lost my train of thought.
Okay, when it comes back, please let me know.
I will.
I just said choo-choo. Any other thoughts? You've been awfully quiet, and you holding the mic doesn't mean that you're speaking.
I agree. I agree with it. Yeah, it is actually. I don't know. I feel that pickup lines can come off as, for example, a guy comes up to a girl with a pickup line. I just feel it's not respectful in a way, because I think it's the way the guy speaks. So, like we said, in an Asian country, so this is not being practiced much. So
Yeah. So does that mean, is it okay for an Asian guy to use a pickup line to a tourist or someone who's not Asian who lives in Malaysia? What do you guys think?
Well,
I think that could be a good other talk, because for some reason in Western cultures, they are gatekeeping white guys from trying to date Asian girls. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I think, but no one ever talks about how is it okay for Asian guys to talk to white girls. I don't think anyone's ever touched on that topic before.
Oh, well, let's touch on it.
it depends on how the guy approaches the girl. Maybe the girl does not really know how the Asian guys like talk, or maybe go up to girls. So hopefully, if that guy has a good approach, the girl wouldn't have a bad impression like, oh, all Asian guys are like that. So probably the impression the guy gives is important.
Yeah, it has to be a very calculated move.
Has to be
A very calculated move.
calculated move. You're expecting a guy who sees a pretty girl, blonde and blue eyes, and just going like that,
But we're talking
and you want him to do a calculated move. I think he'll be listening to his hormones. I don't think it'll be calculating moves.
then he shouldn't do it.
Okay, that's fine. So what can we give these kind of guys, or someone who is really like find someone very attractive, so they can do the calculated move in a very effective way? What kind of calculated moves that we want to share and help others to be within the calculated moves?
Or do you mean if they want to try to like approach like a tourist or something?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, let's continue with that example. Yeah.
I mean, we don't want the girl to have that impression of like putting all Asian guys
Yeah,
in the
but
same category.
I can tell you, maybe as an Asian guy, I would say, I want to make sure that this girl knows that Asian guys are cool and they have some humor. I tell you, I tell about this new line now.
All the Asian guys have the stereotype the same way.
Well, maybe he would use a line like, "Is your dad a boxer? Because you're on knockout."
Oh my goodness.
Because in his mind, he's trying to show this tourist or this Westerner girl that we're cool too. You know, I'm using a Westerner culture, punchline or whatever they call it. It's a knockout, so it's a punchline.
I mean, only
Or
the
a
girl is
pickup
like, only if she doesn't think that, oh, she's trying too hard.
Straight.
It's trying.
He's trying too hard.
He's also in a foreign land, so
Yeah,
So she's not gonna be expecting this kind of behavior from the guy.
exactly.
We're assuming a lot.
Yeah.
I mean,
We're assuming a lot. How can we help the guy?
I think maybe probably a pickup line is not the best way to go.
Okay. Yeah. I think you're right on that. I think you're right on that. Yeah.
Maybe just have a little bit of small talk first, see if the girl is interested, and then maybe go from there.
So what would it take for a guy to show if the
Why
girl
are
is
you
interested?
dating the guy, not the girl?
Yeah.
Because okay, so that's a very good question, and I hope you're not feeling offended or defensive. The reason why I'm thinking that, because from this discussion, I'm seeing the guy is causing the discomfort to the girl. So I need to help the guy because there's something about the guy that is causing him to do something that is causing the girl to feel uncomfortable, or at least uncomfortable, disgusted or violated or all that stuff. So I need to help the guy. I cannot just tell him, you shouldn't do that. I will be very unsuccessful and I would definitely fail. I would not help him. So I want the guy to have certain skills that they need to approach, or they need to manage these thoughts. They don't have to act on the thoughts. I mean, that's one thing. They really don't have to act on the thought, but they have to do something inside them that would help them not to act on it. Common sense.
Some common sense, yeah.
And that's very subjective, I must say.
Common sense.
I would say count to 5, count to 10 before you say open your mouth. Count to 10. Make it a habit before you want to do a punchline that you just learned from Google, and you count to 10. Maybe the thought will fade away, because it could be just a spike of excitement that would fade away after a while. Or maybe the girl will burp or something that would turn him off. Sorry. So I'm thinking one thing is really to give it time, to give it a little bit of time. Sometimes that can change the intensity of the urge, because it is an urge. It's an impulsive, I would say, right? It's an impulsive reaction. So What else can we do?
Thinking twice before you talk is always
Thinking twice.
disacceptable.
It's like, yeah, I've been thinking about this for like the last 3 days. I found the best line.
I mean, if that
And this girl
happens,
passes by me every day.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, some people really do that.
yeah.
Some people do that.
I guess if you have a friend or a sister and it's something you don't want them to hear, just don't say it.
That's a
Mm,
good point.
Yeah. So this is a really good message. Would you like your sister or your mom, or your future wife, right, or your future girlfriend to hear these kind of lines? Because she might be alone in the same situation that this girl is at, and would you like for her to experience that kind of stuff? Yeah, that's a very good one. So think about that. Think about that. Would you like it for your sister? Would you like it for your future wife, or maybe your current wife? I mean, sometimes married men do these things, right? Because they think it's funny, think it's cute, but it's not. It's really offensive, and we just need to be mindful of that. We can share it with amongst our friends, like for fun, but we cannot like use it with strangers and expect something to come out of it. I personally think the reason some people use it is because of anxiety. The anxiety is so high, they don't want to take that step to say hello. I just kind of like noticed this, or just to kind of approach it in a proper way. So they kind of like, they throw it and they just walk away. And that's really cowardice in a sense. It's not anxiety, but could be cowardice or lack of courage. But it does take courage for a man to approach a lady as a lady, and for him to behave as a gentleman. All right. Any last thoughts? Because I want to discuss some of the things that the ladies can do to address these kind of uncomfortable situations. Last thoughts, questions, comments? All right. So here is something. Hello, come on in. So one thing that I would like to share is about setting boundaries. And that can be for someone that you know, or someone who have done it, and you want them to stop doing it again. So that's really important, to set the boundaries. So you can say it politely, you can say it assertively. Politely is like, I appreciate the compliment. I know you're trying to compliment, but I really don't like it. I think it's offensive. I feel offended by you saying that. So you can tell them that, and then therefore you're setting boundaries really assertively. So what do you think of that? Would that work? Tell me more. I'm sorry?
If we fight back.
It would?
If we fight back.
If he fight back?
If we fight back.
If we fight back.
It's like that. I heard about that. Like Christine talked about that before. It's the first guy approached and said, "You look like my next girlfriend." And Christine would say, "You look like my next ex." Like that. It's a thing.
Oh, so that would be another way to respond.
Yeah,
It's like you fight back.
Yeah, you offend me, then offend you back.
Oh, I see. Okay, that's a good point. So my what I'm hearing is like, if someone says, "Oh, you look like my next girlfriend," it's like, "Oh, you look like my next ex-boyfriend." What do you think of that?
But I also come across a few situation where when even if the girls which are polite in that right, and they somehow pull back the compliment, like, "Oh, I was just joking. It wasn't like real. I was just fake with you."
The guy.
Yeah.
Out of embarrassment.
Those are typically called the nice guys.
That's the reaction to anxiety or the impulsiveness with cowardice.
And then he does want that, and that's like a few insult
Yeah.
here and there.
He feel insulted.
He adds a few insults after the
Oh, really?
back compliment.
Like what? What would they say to that to be insulting?
Or you're self-conscious. Yeah, you're not that pretty.
Wow. Yeah, I've seen a lot of those.
There's a lot of examples on you.
If she's not that pretty, why would you even say the pickup line?
Exactly.
It's just insecure men.
That's the insecurity. Yeah, that's
Insecurity.
defensiveness. Yeah, they're very, very defensive. They're like, they like her, they find her attractive. Maybe she's not pretty, but she's attractive. Attracted him enough to say something, right? And then after that, after she shut him down and put him in his place. Like, "Ah, you're not that pretty. What are you? Yeah. It's like, and that's really sad. I mean,
Usually those kind of men have really high egos and are typically like narcissists.
High and fragile egos.
I wouldn't say high. I would say fragile.
Yeah, fragile.
Fake ego. Yeah, that's a very glad you joined us today. Yeah. Yeah. Any thoughts on the topic? Hello.
Interesting.
Yeah, thank you. Um basically but I would like to think like a guy in that position, if you were to respond with that, I would say maybe the guy would think it's funny. It's like, yeah, right on. Because they would not be offended, probably.
Yeah, that's one of the problems. So how are you going to let the guy to know that you are actually offending me? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes when they're joking, they don't even know that they're offending people.
Mm. I would say first I would like to highlight that it would take a tremendous amount of courage for any girl to stand up, even to say what you just said. I think that's courageous. If you did that, that's like they said in the Down Under, good on you. It's really awesome that you did that. I wouldn't say it's effective and it would work for the guy, because again, we're talking about an opposite gender thinks differently than women. Women think differently than men. So it's is there, we lost the camera? Yeah. So
Don't charge it. I think these phone batteries can last without.
that's all right. We'll just continue. We'll continue the discussion. So for a girl who is in that position, who is not comfortable, or who she felt offended or violated, for her to say anything, that would take a lot of courage. And I strongly believe in many circumstances, girls are more courageous than boys. And I don't mean to say that like taking sides or trying to sound better. I strongly believe that girls can handle these situations a whole lot more than boys. Boys don't know how to manage their emotions. But I cannot say all girls do that or all women do that. But generally speaking, from my experience. So I would say something like along the line of what you just mentioned. It can be a good idea, but it can backfire, because they might think it's funny, and they might brag like, "Oh, I said that, and she said that back." It's like, "Oh, yeah, she responded, man. Now she must have liked you." That's another evil guy would just kind of feed in fuel to the fire. You guys know, what I'm talking about. That kind of guy,
I know
right?
exactly right.
Who've never been, in any social connection in his own life, and he's giving tips on how to connect with females. But I would like to say something that was mentioned before. If you have that courage to stand up in front of the guys, like, would you like your sister to hear these kind of words? Would you like it for your mom to hear these kind of words? How about your girlfriend, your future girlfriend? Would you like it if she were to hear these kind of words? So that's one way to ask them, and then that would really make them feel awkward as awkward can be. It's really important to stay calm and collected and composed, because you don't want to lose your character because of someone who doesn't have any social manners. And one of my favorite is to use to give a response within the cultural context. Like, is that how your parents raised you?
Kiss your mom again now.
I mean, I think this can register, especially here with family values. Here is quite strong. So that would resonate. I would say that's kind of like a emotional slap in the face, like emotional damage. It's just you would really put the person in place. Thank you. I don't know if it's working or not. Come in. And it's not working. maybe you want to power cycle it or something. And if the person is not, I mean, he's being out of line and he's still pushing and it's really important to take, serious measures to get yourself out of that situation. So either by you stay away from me, or I'm gonna start to scream. You really need to. I mean, assuming that you stood up for him and told him, if this is your mom, would you, or is that how your parents raised you? And they came back at you, or they came back with a smart answer, or offensive, more aggressive. You really need to take care of yourself. You need to say, if you step one step closer, I'm gonna start screaming, or something along that line. What you said offensive, stay away from me, or something like that. You need to brush him off. Being assertive is really important. Sometimes, sorry, can I have a drink of water, please? I'm not sure what happened to me. Yeah, this will do. Thank you. Excuse me. So sometimes I've seen girls, when they feel like they are in a situation, they kind of act as if they are on the phone, or they can call someone. They can call someone's like, "Can you stay on the phone with me? I just wanted to be, to get that support." You really need to. So that's an option. We still don't have the camera. It must have shut down. Oh, it must have been shutting down from here then. Let me start it. Okay. Okay, now we're back. Thank you. So what else do you guys think? I mean, yeah.
I think it's
Come closer. Come closer. We have mics today.
I think it's much easier for girls to like turn guys down, especially people they don't know, because there are people who got killed for rejecting men.
Oh yeah.
So the stereotype is what? If they did that, they are rejecting men? Is that what I'm hearing?
That if they are responsive to their advances, especially if it's like people they don't know, like outside they might get killed or like eaten up.
The guys.
The girls.
The girls will be, so if they did not, so then why is it difficult for them to act on it then?
Because
Yeah.
the fear of getting killed.
Oh, fear of being killed. Or physically harmed.
Yeah, there's danger to, like, some guys out there are actually insane, and there's a risk of being physically harmed.
Got it. Yeah, I guess that's a really good thought. So what we suggested before, what I suggested earlier, what we discussed, only if you feel safe to do that. And if you don't feel safe, what do you suggest to do? Clarice, any thought?
Hate them.
Just because they put a pickup line is
Pepper spray. Don't get close to me.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Wow. Okay. What else can we do? So he would say something like, "Do you believe in fate?"
Oh.
Because I think we were meant to meet, and you're like, "That's your fate. That's your fate." I believe in fate now.
A lot of girls actually start FaceTiming their friends when they sense that they're in danger. And a lot of them carry, nowadays, I think a lot of women are really aware about like this type of threats happening around them. So they carry safety measures like pepper sprays and SOS buttons. And that's one initiative you can take to like get yourself out of this threat.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying, but I'm from a school that I really don't think girls need to do anything. I think the guys need to man up. I really think so, because enough with this man world kind of thing. I mean, the girls, they really need to live peacefully and safely. They need to go to work. They need to go to shopping. They need just to walk around. I mean, what's wrong with that?
No, I
They don't
totally
need to
agree.
equip themselves with stuff and worry about all that thing. It's just really sad
Yes.
that we have to go to these kind of measures to tell women, oh, you need to be protecting yourself. You go alone with other girls or take another guy with you so you be protected. That's something wrong there. I personally take that opinion. I'm not saying you don't make sure you're safe. It's just sad that we have to do this in order for you to be safe from these kind of people. I strongly believe this is a government responsibility. But I'm seeing how people drive here right in front of a police person. I thought the police would stop them, but actually it's like, okay. Then it's like,
Nothing.
yeah, sorry, you want to say something?
Well, I want to ask you that if it's you think that the government role shape in shaping the men of the society, what do you think about people who use pickup lines in like the professional settings, such as school or workplace, among your classmates and colleagues?
Then that would be the responsibility of the culture of that institute.
But like it's quite like like the recent Me Too movement and
The recent
Me Too movement.
Me Too.
How does one female worker can stand against that culture? How to set that in their workplace?
So Me Too meaning like a psychopath, a serial killer would say, Me Too, I want to express my feelings, I want to express my emotions as well. So therefore I need to, what is the Me Too?
No,
Me Too movement is
Your message to Pizza Express says, I won't send it.
AI.
Technology.
Me Too movement is more like a feminist movement, not really feminist. Yeah, it's a feminist movement against sexual violence. I think these days focus mainly in the workplace.
And what is their objective to do what? I mean, what's the issue with the Me Too movement, or how do we respond to them? Who knows the Me Too movement? Yes, tell us, enlighten us.
It's like when girls speak out against like sexual harassment and things that we see.
When the girls pick up what?
I think it's like for them to like speak up against men, like that they talk about their experiences, so people feel like it actually happens to a lot of people. So because there's a lot of people, there's a lot of backlash, so it helps encourage people to take action against sexual harassment.
Okay, so what about this movement then? This movement is supporting the gender that is oppressed.
No, I would say it's the person really looking at experience sexual violence or harassment.
Yeah. Okay.
So, like you said, it's the responsibility of the work culture to change it.
Okay.
But what do you think the oppressed people do, like the victims or the survivors?
Yeah. So again, these NGOs, I would assume it's an NGO, the Me Too, or these movements. If I say it's a movement, this movement is happening because there's a gap in the responsibility of the authority makers or the policy makers. They have a gap in making sure people feel safe. So this movement is coming in to fill that gap. And that's why we have these movements, because there is a missing part where for the public to feel safe in the society. So you find these movements. Some movements, they call them like the neighborhood watching movement. Like every neighborhood, they would have these neighbors that just watch and just to because there is a gap in securing that area. So you have these movements. Do I understand Me Too in that context?
I think so, but my focus isn't in Me Too. My focus is like how does if you experience in that setting, how can you stand up for yourself?
I think what she means is like in a professional setting, how can you stand up for yourself in a professional manner?
Yeah,
Because you're going to continue to be colleagues.
Yeah, because when before from the beginning, we discussed among the strangers. But if it's in the workplace, we know like their faces. We know
Sure.
to some extent we do know each other. Right? How do you stand up against those people?
Okay, so I guess maybe I wasn't clear earlier. What I was referring to, it is the responsibility of that institution, whether it's an organization, school, any profession. It's their responsibility to ensure the culture to have zero tolerance when it comes down to these things. Absolutely zero tolerance when it comes down to these things. If you feel offended, you need to be supported and protected. So there shouldn't be any fear of any backlash because I spoke out. So that's the responsibility of the organization itself. So that needs to be founded. If you are in an organization that doesn't have this, don't apply or find another job, because it's really important to have that foundation. If your family is not supportive, you need to do something about it. I'm not saying you need to change your family, but you really need to educate your family, because I get that a lot. Many girls, they get molested by relatives. They get offended by neighbors, by people who their family know. And what does mommy and daddy say? Usually,
They just playing around.
you're taking it out of proportion. What?
Um,
They're lying. Oh, you're exaggerating. You misunderstood. It's your fault. Always your fault. And I also see boys also. Guys also have these kind of problems as well. Because sex offenders, they don't know genders. They can be sexually offending other person regardless of their gender. But again, the majority are the girls who are being sexually offended or violated, verbally, emotionally, behaviorally. So in organizations, it's the organization's responsibility and the top management's responsibility to put these zero tolerance policies when it comes down to these things. And that's not sufficient, because it has to have mandatory training that needs to be done regularly, every 3 months, every 6 months, and needs to be monitored by HR. This is a serious situation that the organization must take it seriously. And if you're not in an organization, that's why I mentioned it's the government. So if the government has that policy, then guess what? Every organization will have it. One of the most how do you say that? Common issues at workspace in the U.S. is the sexual related, different gender issues. They spend a lot of money in lawsuits, in settlements, in disputes. It just, I don't know. You guys heard about Fox News?
Yeah.
Yeah, Fox News came out. Someone was courageous. That lady was really courageous to come out with that. And if you guys saw the documentary, she went through a long journey for her to come out, and she was shut down many times before it really came out to the public. But it's and that's mainly because the organization are not taking it seriously. And therefore you find someone who's having difficulties with their finances, they want to pay bills, they have children, they have parents to take care of. It's like, I'll just suck it up because I need the money. And that's really, really sad. I'm going to have to end it here unless there's any thoughts or any last comments. All right. Till the next talk. Stay happy.